Do you remember every story from the Andy Griffith Show's very first season? There were 32 episodes, and each one wasn't just comedy. It was a lesson about kindness, trust, and small-town life that America fell in love with. Season 1 wasn't about fancy plots or action scenes. It was about something deeper, a way of living that reminded us who we wanted to be. So today, we're revisiting the very beginning of Mayberry, the moment when Andy, Opie, Aunt Bee, and Barney first stepped into our hearts. Keep count as we go and see how many episodes you still remember, because this isn't just a review. It's a journey back to the values that made Mayberry timeless. It all started with the new housekeeper. Aunt Bee moves in to help Andy raise young Opie after his mother's passing. But the little boy resists. He's loyal to the way things were and doesn't see it that Bee is trying her best. When she packs her bags to leave, Opie's heartbreak says everything. That quiet hug between them, no words. Just understanding became one of the show's first truly timeless moments. Then came the manhunt. A dangerous convict is on the loose, and the state police rush in with all their modern tactics. But Andy Taylor, he knows Mayberry's back roads and its people better than anyone. With calm humor and sharp instincts, he outsmarts them all, proving that wisdom often beats authority. In The Guitar Player, Andy helps a shy musician named Jim Lindsay find his courage. Jim's guitar once filled Mayberry with joy, but fear had kept him silent. Andy gives him that one push and the town remembers what real talent sounds like. And then, Ellie comes to town, a new pharmacist. Ellie Walker arrives independent, smart, and unafraid to challenge the old ways. When Andy defends her right to do things differently, it sets the tone for what Mayberry would become, a place where decency and open minds always find a home. These early stories weren't just introductions. They were quiet tests of compassion, courage, and the kind of wisdom that never goes out of style. In Irresistible Andy, the sheriff himself becomes the town's favorite roomer. After a few innocent gestures toward Ellie Walker, Mayberry's gossip mill spins out of control, and suddenly, everyone thinks Andy's getting married. The humor is gentle, but the message is clear in a small town. Even kindness can be misunderstood. By the end, Andy learns that sometimes the only way to stop a rumor is to laugh at it. Then came Runaway Kid. When Andy and Barney take in a boy who's run away from home, they discover he's not bad, just scared. Andy doesn't scold him. He listens. And when the boy finally faces his parents, it's one of those quiet, human moments that defined the series, where discipline came with understanding, not punishment. In Andy the Matchmaker, Barney loses faith in himself after a string of clumsy mistakes. To cheer him up, Andy sets up a harmless plan pretending a young woman is interested in him. But when the joke goes too far, Barney's pride is bruised. The lesson: even good intentions can sting if they're built on deception. And of course, Opie's charity. When Andy thinks Opie's being selfish for donating only 3 cents to a local charity, he lectures his son only to learn later that Opie was saving his money to help a friend in need. That moment, Andy realizing his mistake, is one of television's most honest portrayals of a parent learning from his child. Through these stories, the Andy Griffith Show reminded us that love and trust aren't always loud or grand. Sometimes, they're found in the soft humility of admitting when you were wrong. In A Feud is a Feud, Mayberry stares down an old family grudge that nobody quite remembers how it started. 2 young people want to marry, but tradition says no. Andy refuses to let the past ruin their future, using humor and plain talk to diffuse pride and turn a standoff into a wedding. The episode makes a simple point: land hard peace is a choice, not an accident. Then Ellie for council pushes the town's comfort zone. Ellie Walker runs for local office and meets a wall of old-fashioned resistance. She doesn't shout. She shows up, makes her case, and wins people over one conversation at a time. Andy backs her not because she's his friend, but because fairness is the law that really matters in Mayberry. It's politics done small and done right. Christmas Story is Mayberry's heart at its warmest. Ben Weaver wants the law enforced on Christmas Eve. Period. Andy invites him to see what mercy looks like up close. Music, food, and a little grace do what rules alone can't. By the end, even Ben softens, proving that justice without compassion is just paperwork. Finally, Stranger in Town captures the uneasy feeling when someone new knows too much about you. The stranger isn't a threat. He's a fan who fell in love with Mayberry through a friend's stories. The town learns to trade suspicion for welcome, and the episode becomes a gentle reminder community isn't a fence, it's a door. Across these conflicts, Mayberry keeps choosing decency over ego, inclusion over habit, and that's why we keep coming back. In Mayberry Goes Hollywood, the quiet little town gets swept up in silver screen fever when a movie crew comes to film nearby. Suddenly, everyone polishes their houses, changes their clothes, and tries to act like stars. Andy watches the frenzy with a smile until he reminds them that Mayberry's real charm isn't in pretending to be something new, but in being exactly who they are. When the cameras leave, the town sighs in relief, rediscovering the beauty of their ordinary days. Next, the horse trader. Andy, usually the picture of honesty, bends the truth a little to sell an old piece of equipment. It's harmless until Opie overhears and repeats his father's lesson. That moment hits Andy hard. He realizes that integrity isn't taught in words, it's modeled in every small choice. The laughter fades, leaving behind one of the show's most meaningful moral reflections. In Those Gossipin' Men, the script turns the spotlight on Andy and his buddies, proving that men can gossip just as much as the ladies they tease. Rumors swirl, feelings get hurt, and by the end, Andy faces his own hypocrisy with humor and humility. It's Mayberry's gentle way of saying we all stumble, but decency means laughing at ourselves and learning. Then comes the beauty contest. Andy's asked to be a judge, an honor that quickly becomes a headache. He wants to stay fair, but pressure mounts from every corner. His final choice surprises everyone, reminding us that true beauty in Mayberry has little to do with looks and everything to do with character. And finally, alcohol and old lace. Two sweet old ladies, known for their good manners, turn out to be running an illegal moonshine operation. It's one of those episodes where the line between sinner and saint gets blurred, and Andy must balance the law with compassion. He enforces justice, but never loses his sense of humanity. Through these tales, the Andy Griffith Show held up a mirror to its audience, gently asking us to laugh, reflect, and grow a little wiser with every story. In Andy, the Marriage Counselor, the Boone couple turn every small slight into a shouting match. Andy doesn't lecture. He invites them to see how kindness sounds in a home. When they slip back into old habits, he nudges again, firm, patient, never cruel. Mayberry's lesson is simple. Marriage is less about winning arguments and more about choosing tenderness. Mayberry on Record brings a fast-talking producer who promises fame to local singers. Andy smells trouble. The town wants to believe, but contracts and talk of royalties start to feel slippery. In the end, Andy protects his neighbors without stomping on their dreams, proving hope needs a good ear and a clear head. Then Andy saves Barney's morale. A few mistakes shake Barney's confidence, and the badge suddenly feels heavier. Andy arranges a quiet win not for show, but to remind his friend what he's capable of when fear gets out of the way. Their friendship is the heartbeat here, steady, loyal, unflashy. In Andy and the Gentleman Crook, a smooth, well-spoken criminal charms the whole town. He quotes poetry, tips his hat, and makes dishonesty look elegant. Andy isn't dazzled. With calm wit, he shows Mayberry that character isn't manners or vocabulary, It's the choices you make when no one's clapping. Finally, Cyrano Andy. A well-meaning plan to help a shy suitor spirals into mixed signals and hurt feelings. Andy learns that borrowed words can't replace honest ones, and love doesn't bloom on clever lines alone. The resolution is soft and human missteps owned. Hearts left a little braver. Across these episodes, Mayberry threads the same needle: protect each other's dignity, keep your wits, and let decency lead even when it'd be easier to look the other way. In Andy and Opie, housekeepers. Father and son try to manage the house after Aunt Bee leaves town. Their pride keeps them from admitting how lost they are. When Bee returns, it's not scolding that fixes things, it's laughter and love. Then the new doctor. A handsome newcomer steals Mayberry's attention, and Ellie's too. Andy's jealousy flares for the first time, but he swallows his pride. He learns that real confidence doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. In a plaque for Mayberry, the town prepares to honor a hero, only to discover his legend was built on myth. Andy's gentle honesty saves face for the family while teaching that truth, not reputation, is what endures. The inspector tests Mayberry's laid-back law style against strict bureaucracy. Barney panics. Andy stays calm, and by the end, the inspector admits that respect can't be measured in paperwork. And Ellie saves a female plus. Andy forecloses close this stretch with heart. Ellie helps a young woman regain confidence. Andy faces a family losing their home. Duty meets compassion, and both win. Through these stories, the show reminds us that authority, pride, and love all need the same thing: humility. As Season 1 nears its end, Mayberry saves some of its most powerful moments for last. In Quiet Sam, suspicion clouds the town when a mysterious man keeps to himself. Andy investigates and finds a quiet father-to-be, not a criminal. The episode reminds us how easy it is to fear what we don't understand. Then Barney gets his man. Our lovable deputy captures a wanted criminal by accident, and the whole town cheers him as a hero. But when the real danger appears, Barney proves he can rise to the occasion. Comedy turns to pride, and we see why the show loved him so much. In The Guitar Player Returns, Jim Lindsay comes back from the big city, chasing success but finding emptiness. Andy helps him remember that music, like happiness, means more when shared, not sold. And finally, bringing up Opie, Andy's son runs away after a misunderstanding, forcing the sheriff to face his own mistakes as a father. The reunion between Andy and Opie closes the season exactly where it began, not with grand speeches, but with love, forgiveness, and quiet understanding. Season 1 leaves us with a town full of laughter, lessons, and heart. In Mayberry, every story, no matter how small, teaches us something lasting about family, friendship, and faith in people. So, how many of these episodes did you remember? From Aunt Bee's first day to Barney's big moment. Season 1 of The Andy Griffith Show gave us more than stories. It gave us a map of small-town decency that still feels rare today. Every laugh came with a lesson. Every quiet pause held a little truth about patience, forgiveness, and love that endures. If this walk through Mayberry brought back memories, tell us your favorite Season 1 episode in the comments below, or the moment that still makes you smile. And if you want to keep this nostalgia rolling, subscribe and join us next time as we revisit Season 2, when Mayberry's heart grew even bigger and Barney's adventures got a lot wilder. Because in a world that's always changing, Mayberry reminds us of something simple: kindness never goes out of style.